Voila.
Hey, look at that.
What's up, man?
Decided to go like no hat today.
No hat. I brought it just in case you'd start making me sweat. You know.
We've got theme music now for the show.
Like some Cuban, Caribbean stuff going there?
Yeah, like an artist by the name of Chocolate. It's Chocolate in C7 is the name of the piece.
Let me write that down. I was hoping we could have like the Price is Right theme song.
I'll share it with you.
Maybe we'll do the Price is Right. Come on down. Come to Brian.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
You're looking a little better than yesterday. You're looking a little more spry than yesterday when we talked.
Good, yeah. I'm getting color back. I went for a walk. Took the dog for a walk this morning, which was a big deal. And yeah, doing better. I mentioned yesterday I had a little incident, but I'm on the mends. Put it that way. I'm on the mends.
Cool. So, and there's birds chirping in the background for you. I hear them.
Yep.
In beautiful sunny California.
The overcast day today. It's pretty overcast out and a little humid, but we just broke a heat wave. It was in the hundreds the last few days, so it's the birds are chirping. They're happy. They're not so hot.
Cool. All right. So we got to talk about chocolate. That's what we do here. That's what we do on this little vignette. And hey, there's your friend Eric Case, by the way. So now we're in big trouble.
It's your friend.
Not my friend. Your friend. But so Chris, I mean, you are the chief chocolatier, owner, proprietor, all that good stuff of Kollar Chocolates in Yountville, California.
Yes, good old Yountville.
So you've been around for close to 10 years?
Yep, 100%.
And what do you do there? Tell me about. So let's I kind of know, but I mean, so tell me a little bit about the business. I also know that you weren't a chocolate chef, a pastry chef to start with. You started on the hot side and you ended up in chocolate. And so give me that little story. Like how do you go from being like that acclaimed hot food Northern California chef guy into being, Mr. Chocolatier, Mr. I'm the face of
a little company here.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, well, that's a great question. Originally I started cooking in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Worked at a handful of restaurants there, so I was born and raised, and then traveled across the country, and worked in Colorado, then to the Cayman Islands, then Eric, and then Seattle, and then ended up in California in like 2001, 2002, and worked at a bunch of restaurants here. Worked my way into sous chef positions and at a winery, and that's basically the short story to it. Worked at a lot of cool restaurants. Mostly classically French and Italian restaurants, practicing those fundamentals, which which I had a big passion for. But then transferred over to the chocolate. I knew nothing about chocolate, and in those times, I was always a savory cook, working on the line, working the station, whatever station, working in the sous, but not in the pastry departments or the bread departments or the all those. The sweet department. So when I was a winery chef, I was like, okay. The winery owner said, hey, when we're not here, I worked for Knights or Peter Michael Winery, one of my favorite wines out here. He said, hey, Chris, when we're not around, use the kitchen for whatever you want to do. So I was like, great. I want to learn. I was like, this is awesome. It's a quiet little kitchen in the countryside, or it sits on top at the base of a huge mountain, Mount St. Helena, the biggest peak here in the Bay Area. And great, so I took my own money and I looked up old pastry chefs that I worked in the same restaurants with, but not under them, under the departments. Chris Harvey, who you interviewed, good old Chris Harvey, one of our favorites. I was like, hey, Chris, I want to learn some stuff. And he's like, come on down. I crashed on his couch for a few days in Los Angeles. And we went to a chocolate studio that he had access to, and we just went over fundamentals, some airbrushing fundamentals, some ganache making fundamentals. And I did that with a couple other chefs too, a guy named Matt Zach. And, I learned some things from him. So I took that time and I just went back to that kitchen and practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced, read tons of books, failed a lot and practiced a lot until I found I kind of like this. This is a different lifestyle than cooking in a restaurant and cooking so fast and where's the salmon that's not cooked properly with the wrong asparagus and the steak
Garnish.
rare.
Garnish. Where's the garnish?
Where's the garnish?
Garnish.
Sploosh. So those, it's like, okay, this is a different style. You know, and part of that story is I was rushing around like a crazy person, always trying to get as much stuff as I could done. And I had that like cook mentality. I was just like, go, 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 go. I was cooking for the family at this winery, and this is a dramatic story. I crashed a really nice car. It was an old BMW that was restored from 1985, and it's a really fun car. And I was speeding through the Sonoma Valley on curvy roads because I forgot my gnocchi for the dish. I had made some gnocchi at home. I was going to bring it. And on the way back to the winery, I ended up having a really bad car accident and crashed everything. And yeah, bad. Couldn't cook that night. I called the estate manager, like, Herb, make this meal happen, on the side of the road while I was crying. And I was like, man, I got to slow down. I just crashed a car for no reason. I put a family's life at risk for no reason, just for some gnocchi. That was like, you know, that's a reason, but that's a dumb reason. It's not a very good reason for things like that to happen. So chocolate gave me patience. It helped me like slow down, slow my jam. And it's like, there's no rush in this stuff. You know, it's one frame at a time. It's one mold at a time. It's gentle. It's easy. You're stirring, you're tempering, and there's no rush in that stuff. So that's what made me like really, really, really fall in love with chocolate. I was never strived to be a chocolatier. I never was like, I'm gonna work with chocolate all day, and you know, I never had a big long list of the famous chocolatiers in the world. I knew about them, of course.
Right.
And then, you know, and after studying, I saw some guys and some techniques that I was like, ooh, I want to practice that. And, you know, that's where we are today with Kollar Chocolates. We've been open 9 years come Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we'll be 9 years old. And the little town of Yountville, it's a tiny little town, 3,500 people. You guys all probably heard of a guy named Thomas Keller. He has 6, 7 restaurants in town. He just opened a new Mexican restaurant last year.
Of course.
Why not? Why not? You know, the French Laundry. That's where the French Laundry is, and the Bouchon Bakery, and gosh, Ad Hoc. And so he's our neighbor. He's across the street from us. It's always good to gauge how busy we'll be in the afternoon, how long the line is at the pastry shop across the street in the morning. It's, the line's halfway down the sidewalk. We're going to get hit hard at 2 o'clock today.
Do they do chocolate at that Bouchon too, like they do in New York, or do they not?
No, they don't. They do like some chocolate baked goods and some like chocolate croissants, but they don't do any bonbons or truffles. They do some dragé stuff, but they don't have a collection. But his bar, you know, Keller released a bar collection a few years ago, I think 3 or 4 years ago now. And so he cranks out good old classic chocolate bars, which do really well with olive oil. So I know. So
but they're doing bean to bar too. But where are they doing bean to bar, right? They're doing it somewhere else, aren't they?
They're doing it here, but in the south part of Napa. They don't have the capacity to do it, the Bouchon Bakery. Right. That little bakery just cranks it out. And yeah, they're down in South Napa in the warehouse district area with all their big machines and making the bars. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, so you've crashed your car.
Crashed my car.
You're crying on the side of the road.
Crying.
Eating your gnocchi.
Eat my frozen gnocchi with defrosting, yeah.
And so I got to do something different. I'm learning about chocolate. I'm doing all this stuff. How do you, I mean, I'm opening this, so you decided you're opening a shop in Napa, or like what? I mean, well, I guess like we've talked with a lot of people about this. This has like been like a theme, right? Like of like people that we've talked to in the last couple of weeks. You know, like we talked to Kate Weiser, and we Chris Harvey, you know, and you know, people that either were in pastry or were doing something else, and like chocolate's the thing. I've decided chocolate's my jam, and I'm gonna open a retail store. There's no, like, if I think about my own career in pastry, right? Like, okay, I'm going to work for the Ritz-Carlton for a while, and then I'm going to go work for this. I'm going to go work for this other chef, and I'm going to do this for a little while, and then I'm going to get an internship here, and I'm going to stage with this guy, and then I'm going to open my own bakery, right? I mean, that's the path. But it seems like somewhere along the way, like the entrepreneurial person in you or in Chocolatiers goes, F it, I'm all in. Like, I'm in. Like,
yep.
I'm in. Like, I'm not going to work for anybody else anymore. I want to work for me, and that's the gig, and here we go. And I'm going to scrape together $200,000, and I'm going to do it. I mean, that sort of sounds like that kind of...
That's about it. I mean, it was a giant leap of faith, and, you know, you just nailed it. It's like, you can't be 80% in. You can't be, you have to be 100% committed to doing that project. And, you know, it was the hardest thing I ever tried to do and make happen. You know, I thought I was going to work at this winery. It was a great job for me. I was like, wow, I cook for all these events and take care of the family when they're over here from England. And I have all this free time when they're paying me great. And it's like, I love riding my bike. I'm a big road cyclist. I'll just ride all day and cook. And I was like, this is great. I love this life. But then when I started falling in love with the chocolate, you know, I started feeding chocolate to my guests at the end of those meals. And they would call me and be like, hey, man, where can we get some more of those truffles, those bonbons, those bars and stuff? I was like, huh, interesting. And I don't know how it happened, but Valrhona caught wind. I was using a lot of Valrhona chocolate product. And they caught wind, and their distributor and their pastry chef, Derek and Jennifer Butler, were up here. Called Derek Poitier, one of my favorites. And he's like, what do you got going on there? And I met him in a coffee shop, and I was like, oh, here's my fennel pollen, my coffee, my red wine. And they were really encouraging and supportive. But there was also a random winery owner in there, and he was sort of eavesdropping on our conversation. He's like, I want to buy 1,200 of those chocolates for a wine tasting I have at my winery in a couple weeks. Can you do that? And I was like, you betcha, let's do this. And so there was sort of this like, wow, there's something here, you know. People are liking it, and I'm not advertising for it. And I thought to myself, you know, there's 2 other chocolate companies in the area, and we all have a different style of chocolate making, you know, Belgian style, what do I see? Like, oh, clusters and haystacks and stuff like that. Just have nothing wrong with those chocolates. They're great cordials. Nothing wrong with it. They're great. You know, we were sort of putting the color in cocoa butter and having an eye appeal kind of thing going on. Right. And one thing led to another. Nobody would fund me. No one wanted to put it down. Like
I wouldn't give you money now.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy.
And you're one of the best chocolatiers in the country. And I'm like I'm not giving you $10.
No one gave me. My family didn't even. I was like, I need some money. They're like, okay, Chris, what are you up to? Okay, sure. Banks look at you like you're a nutbag. Anyone at a credit union looks at you like, okay, nice business plan, great business plan, but no thanks. And you know, there was a handful of people who really believed in. They took the risk with me, and they cut me some checks. One guy was a guy I met in a parking lot, and I was like, nice car. That's a really cool car. I like that car. We became friends. Next thing you know, that guy lent me like $40,000, $50,000. He's like, just pay it back in 5 years. I was like, okay, cool. I will, you know?
It wasn't like Ozark, was it? Like, it wasn't the whole, like...
No. Everyone's still alive, no extortion. But
no electrocutions, nothing strange.
No execution, no rage. But it was funny that you know, the opening budget was X amount of money. I was like, well, I can't raise that much, so I cut that in half and made it happen without it. And that's how it happened. And so there happened to be a space available in this place right across the street from Bouchon Bakery called the V Market Center. Now, it's like it's an old building from 1870. It used to be a barn at one day. I believe it used to be they stored brandy in there at one day. Used to be a train station one day. Anyway, they have a bunch of retail store fronts in there. And there happened to be one available. And it was 840 square feet. It still is. And it's always been an ice cream, a sweet spot, a candy spot. Someone used to buy candy, repackage it, and just sell it in there. Milkshakes. And so I got a hold of it, gutted the place, and redid the whole thing. And was like, we're going to put a chocolate lab in here. We're going to put production in here and a retail storefront right here. Let's do it. And it was funny that the architect, that was her first project. That was my first project as an entrepreneur. And it was the builder's first commercial project. So it was all first for us. And so that was cheap to hire those kind of people, and I didn't have any money, and they did a great job. And so,
and you spent all your money with us. So
and then I spent all my big opening costs were with you. I flew out to Buffalo. I don't know jack about using a chocolate machine. Yeah,
One of
Still
those.
have my original one. My Sell Me Plus. Still have the original one. I've made a couple repairs on it over the years because we worked the bejesus out of it. But it's our workhorse. It shows up to work every day, and it does a great job. So there was so much to learn about retail and running a chocolate production.
So you get built out, and like, it was you, and there weren't a lot of people early on, right? I mean, there was like 2 or 3 of you that were kind of doing everything.
Yeah. There was 3 of us, front of the house, 2 back of the house, and we actually there's 4. We got traction pretty quick, believe it or not. We were surprised. And it was, we also served gelato and some coffee beverages, but the health department did not allow us to make dairy in there to the X amount of space we had. They made us put it in another sink, basically. So I was like, great, I need that mop sink. And yeah, couldn't hose down the room to do dairy, and they ended up putting another sink in, which we wanted to make the gelatos or ice creams or that. So we used a local guy named Tony Fiorello, Italian guy here in the Bay Area over in Marin. But yeah, we started off with, the whole thing about the shop was, okay, let's make it an experience. Let's make it so people can see the chocolate people making chocolate.
But you were always there, man. Like I remember, my phone would ring, and I'm really not complaining about this. Like the phone would ring, it'd be like 8:00 in the morning. It'd be like, cool, Chris is calling. I'm like, holy ass, Chris is calling. It's 8:00 in the morning, which means it's 5:00 in the morning, and he's already like into something that he needs help with. It wasn't like I'm getting out of bed and I had this thing yesterday. Like you were at the shop, early and there late. You were there all the time. Like that's just, I think that's back to that entrepreneurial thing. Like the amount of, I have incredible respect for people like you and, people that we've been talking to in the last couple of months, because I like to work, but I don't like to work. I don't want to be at work 7 days a week, 15 hours a day. But I mean, that's kind of where you were at for a long time.
The first year I worked every single day. I did not take one day off. 365 days, every single day. That time zone. Wake up at the 5:30, roll in at 6, crank away. My team would come in around 8. So that early morning time was I really had alone time in there. And they'd come in, and the store is open every day. It's open 7 days a week, 10 to 5:30 every day. But it was something that, like I said, it caught traction quick. And, we had an online store going after the first few months. We started doing our online presence, got there. And then a lot of events are done in Napa Valley in the Bay Area. They want to come up to the Napa Valley, go to the wineries, go see these things. And I was just mentioning that's a big part of the company is the experience. And so when the shop was built out, we basically put some glass between us and the retail. And there we are in our little 350 square foot area. It's a tiny shop, but it cranks. Yeah, exactly. You should see it around the holidays. Yeah.
You get a bunch of T-Rexes that work for you, and everything would be fine.
Exactly. Behind, coming to the side, behind. You're saying that corner, behind. That's all you hear all day. It's like there's three corners in there. Wah, wah, wah. And that's all you hear. You should see the holidays. There's 4 of us jammed in there. But
you caught fire. Chris, you caught fire because your product is really good stuff too. I don't think it's. I think it's nice that it's Napa and it's this and it's that, and we're across the street from Bouchon. But the product that you made from day one was good stuff. I think we can get into a debate about whether it's better today than it was then, and all that, but I think you started with really high expectations of your own product, and you held yourself to really high standards, and you weren't willing to let that slip. You're another Valrhona shop, right? Almost 100%.
Already seen Valrhona, yeah.
And so your level of ingredients are expensive, and full of quality and all that stuff. I mean, I think you've got to take some credit, who you are, about where you came from and what you were doing. I mean, it's nice where you were, but I think you would have been successful anywhere, right? I mean, there are a lot of good chocolatiers in California.
There's a bunch. The Bay Area is very competitive. There's a lot of great chocolatiers in this area, but it's coming from the background as a chef or just being in this industry so long. It's ingredients are the most important thing for us, and flavor is the most important thing for us. And where we are getting it, we always say chocolate weaves the world, and we get our chocolate from. Obviously, it's grown all over the world. Follow the equator, and you'll find it. But we also would make sure we source the best vanilla beans we can get our hands on, and then up here source the best herbs from the gardens that are half a mile from us, which is, and the fruits and some of those kind of ingredients are just a stone's throw away. But I think, maybe if we did pop up in a different region, I really like the Napa Valley, and I thought it would be a great place for us to be. Even, it's nice being neighbors with Michael Chiarello and Thomas Keller and all that, and people plan their vacations to see these people. It's pretty wild.
Can you get me in over at? Can you get me in
at the laundry?
Yeah. Can you get me in? Can you make a phone call?
I probably can't, but
thanks. Thanks for not even lying to me about it. Thanks for not
yeah.
Sure, Brian. I'll get you in.
No. I still haven't eaten there. I've been there. I still haven't had a meal there yet, but maybe
had a cocktail at the bar and
come on over. Yeah.
We'll see what we can do. So okay, so I'm like, I've blown all the smoke up your rear end that I'm going to do today.
Thank you.
Like what piece didn't work? Like what piece did you like? This piece is awesome. It's my basil caramel with like sea salt imported from Tibet. People are going to love this, and you sold none of them. What was that piece?
What was that? You know what? This is oddly enough, that's a funny question. Our cherry chocolate. I couldn't sell a cherry chocolate to save my life. I was like, oh, classic cherries and brandy. We'll make a nice little cherry and brandy with dark chocolate and put little chunks of cherry in it. Could not sell it for my life. Pistachio. Could not sell it.
So you had me at cherry. Like in my head, cherry and pistachio, like those two are like the first I'm going to order out of the case.
Yes. No. Couldn't sell it. It was bizarre. But then people would go for the odd flavors. I mean, one of our signature chocolates, fennel pollen. It's we like to practice familiar flavors and then cross over into the old savory world, dig into those thoughts and those flavors and throw those in there. But it's easy to tell a story. Every little chocolate has a story. But yeah, cherry and pistachio, no. But I bring them back every once in a while to be like, was it that time? Was it 2011 that people were against cherry? I don't know.
How many pieces how many different flavors do you have in a case at a time?
We had 20. We had 20 bonbon truffles, and then we had an assortment of barks. Now we have about 60 SKUs. Right now, coming back from the COVID stuff, we couldn't bring the whole chocolate line back. It just doesn't make sense right now.
So how sketchy was the whole COVID thing? I mean, it's still going on. But I mean, like, obviously, we all read the news, so we won't bore everybody with that. But I mean, you had to close because we talked about that.
We closed March 17th.
And then you were in the shop a little bit. Like you were allowed in, I think we talked about.
I personally was. I was in the shop every single day. I had to let my staff go on the 17th, which sucked. And I mean, there's just no one around. Couldn't sell any. There was not a human around. And then the governor ended up shutting the whole sheltering Napa County on the 20th. We were one of the last counties in the Bay Area to go. We're so rural up here. We're in the farmland.
Right.
But yeah, I went in every day. I was like, well, I'm just going to sell out my inventory. I can't keep up with all this stuff. And let's just sell our inventory. So I would do the packaging. I would do the shipping. Whew. I would have a whole new respect for my manager and my front of the house team. I can screw up some shipping, let me tell you.
You mean I didn't send that overnight? I sent that ground? My bad. Sorry. I'll get another one out to you.
Oh, so yeah, go UPS. Yeah, so that was a nice learning curve. But I went as far, I worked every single day. It was like going back into startup mode. I was like, great. This is going to flatten us out. We were doing great. We were having a great year. our numbers were up 40%. January, February, just roared into 2020. And then the emergency brake and the wheels fell off, and we're like, shit, what are we going to do now? We have an issue. We have an issue, Mission Control. So.
But is everybody back now? Like
Everyone's back.
You're considered a retail store rather than a restaurant, right? So
yep.
Hence the whole extra sink thing. And
yeah,
sorry. So all your employees are back, and then you got people coming to the door again. Obviously, internet was important for you through all that. That was the big thing that we've talked with people too recently, that anybody that had an internet presence did okay. Not great, but were able to hold their own, be able to pay bills and that kind of stuff. And if you didn't have an internet presence, you now have one. Like, it's like, how quickly can we get an internet website up that will actually sell product,
figure that out quick.
Today. Yeah,
yep.
like there's a guy I know out east that, did his own website in something like 4 days. He taught himself, when all the back end, like he's like back to this, I'm all in. Like,
yeah.
I don't have any money to pay somebody. I have 4 days to figure this out. I'm not sleeping for the next 4 days. I'm going to create a website. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's what we did.
So,
we hit the internet hard and diminished our inventory, and it was like startup. Like I said, it was all right. Let's do this every day. Make it happen. Keep a small stream of revenue coming in no matter what.
Right.
And that was to pay this and that. I mean, my landlord worked with me a little bit here, which was nice. PPP kicked in, that whole payment protection program. Weren't sure what that was all about. What kind of bear trap are we stepping in there? It's the rules aren't released, but here's some money.
You figured that one out. Then you figured that one out too, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the cool thing about what I've loved about this series that we've been doing is like the opportunity to talk to people that are just like, when I just make the decision, I'm all in. Like, I got to do, like, I went all in at the beginning, and now 10 years later, I'm experiencing a problem, and I don't have a choice, and all I can do is go all in again. Like, I'm pushing all the chips in because, like, what's the alternative, right? I mean,
exactly.
That's not just a chocolate thing. That's a food thing. I think us food guys, like, I'm a hot guy too originally, right? And like, at 7:45 on Friday night, I'm all in. Like, I don't have a choice. If I'm not ready, I better get ready.
Yeah.
Like, we were in New York in February because I decided that in February and March this year, I should go to Northern Italy, New York, and San Francisco, and then New York again, because that makes perfect sense. So
yeah,
I'm sure my antibody tests are going to come back positive. But we went to New York. So we went as a family, and we went to the Noodle Bar in Columbus Circle, right? And we have like the first seating. It's 5 o'clock. It's my daughter's birthday. My wife's with me, and I'm the only like food. Like, everybody loves food in my family, but I'm the only restaurant guy, right? And so we sit at the bar, right? So we're sitting at the app station, right? And the kid gets hammered, like the worst I've ever seen in like in that caliber of dining. Like, the kid is just like a deer in the headlights, right?
Yeah.
And it's like a Tuesday night. Like,
wow.
Anyway, and the chef on the line comes down, the sous chef comes down, and says to him fairly forcefully and fairly loudly, "Get your F and S together." Right? Like,
pull it together, Roger.
2 feet away from me, right?
Uh-huh.
And he gives him the dishwasher to help. Thanks, chef. Thanks for the dishwasher. Like, who's never done anything, right? Cool. All right, whatever. Go get me caviar, whatever. And my wife is watching all this, and she's like, "That's really not very fair that they didn't give him help at 5 o'clock when he was going to be busy." And I'm like, dude's got to get his shit together. You know what I mean? Like, right? And I think that's the story about food people, right? Like, when it's all fallen apart at 8:30 on Tuesday, when somebody called out sick and you're out of tomatoes because the shipment looked like crap when they arrived, we go all in. Like, what are we going to do? Like, we're not going to tell that customer, "No, I'm sorry.
No.
You can't have the signature dish tonight because I don't feel well." Yeah. Or my dishwasher called out sick and I don't have that pan that I want to use right now. Like, that's not a choice, right?
Recovery mode. Yeah. You make it happen.
Like, right, you didn't have a choice that the world has given you kind of like a crappy set of cards, right? I mean, like, I got to bluff my way through it, and I got to make the best of this hand that I possibly can, right? And that,
yeah.
I mean, we talked to Norman Love a couple weeks ago, and
That.
he talked about what they had to do, and they're the 500-pound gorilla, right? I mean, in the artisan chocolate business, at least in the United States, right? I mean, they're the big guy, right? You're not the big guy, right? I mean, you don't have 3 months of payroll sitting in the bank, I'm assuming. I mean, maybe you do. Like, cool, good for you.
We had some bases covered. We had some bases. So what happens here is we get these things wildfires, and the last 2-3 years, our valley catches on fire, and everything's shut down. And I'm like, shit, we're going into wildfire mode again, where no one comes in. You can't see 100 feet in front of you. You have to wear your mask. You don't want to breathe anything. No one's coming up here, and it's like, oh, we're going. I'll go into wildfire mode. We won't have any business for a month, but it's like wildfire mode times 3. It's like, oh wow, another month. Oh wow, another month. Ooh, yuck. But like I felt, like a good business person going into this, like, oh, I know how to prepare for something like this. But this is much bigger than a month. Okay, everybody, see you in about a month. And as a smart business person, I like to say is I do put money away for emergency, because I'm used to having an emergency situation here in the valley. But there comes a point where those emergency funds do get stretched, and it's like,
Right.
hell, how long is this company going to last now? I don't want to be a statistic, and I'm not going to, whatever happens, if I have to just sell a certain amount of things that I know are my best sellers, that's what I'm going to focus on.
Well, here's our chance for a plug. So, I mean, you do have a really great website, which is kollarchocolates.com. Right?
Thank you.
So anybody that's not there, not everybody that hasn't already gone over to look at it, take a look at it. I mean, there's some really great images on Kollar Chocolates, the Instagram page, which you can get to out of this conversation pretty easily, and like Chris's stuff. I mean, but I don't want to go too deep into COVID. I asked what the piece didn't work. What's your favorite piece that you sell?
My favorite piece are my exact one favorite is my fennel pollen chocolate. And it's a light anise flavor. It sits in a milk chocolate coated in a dark chocolate. And it's just my favorite thing. Fennel grows wild all over the side of the highways up here, Northern California, I believe in Southern California too. And I'd always pull off on my bike rides, going up these crazy rides. I put some in my mouth, like chewing tobacco. And like, yeah. But I just loved cooking with that. It was such a delicate floral kind of a flavor, and it carries through. And it's nice teaching our guests about something that's a little different. We like to respect the classic made things and do things that are very familiar, but we like to push some flavor limits, and that's one of them for us. And, people come, I don't want to eat fennel. Rawr! I was like, you're not eating fennel. Take it easy. We're not cutting up fennel bulbs here. We want you to try this. It's a light anise flavor. And it's become our baby, and it's always been our signature. That's my favorite piece. A second close would be our hazelnut crunch, roasted hazelnuts, a little fouilletine, sit it in a milk chocolate. I'll eat pounds of that a day. It's how can't you?
I think I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway because somebody asked it down below. Do you sell more bark or bonbons?
Bonbons.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
That's your gig, right?
Yeah.
Eric Case.
Here he comes.
Here he comes. Now it starts. The rest of the conversation is going to be Eric Case. What's your favorite spirit to pair with ganache?
Favorite spirit? I like Grand Marnier a lot. I like Grand Marnier. I like that
Nice
orange. Yeah, nice with with some booze on the background. Whiskey's always fun. I like Grand Marnier. Gin's good. A nice floral juniper gin. That's not too bad.
While you were talking about fennel, I like fennel and grapefruit. Like that's my little thing, like fennel and grapefruit together. And I was thinking maybe a fennel grapefruit gin kind of thing, like a little, I don't know how that all goes together, but that was where my head was going when you were talking about fennel.
I could go for one of those right now. So,
I bet your doctor would say something. So I've got it. Like, so
so my wife.
So our marketing guy, Kyle, who's watching, because he's there to like try to figure out how much he's going to have to edit out like before he puts it on YouTube, whenever we do this, right? So I think you and I have only dropped the S-bomb like twice a piece. So yeah. Kyle's feeling good so far. Like we haven't like dropped the string of MFs.
Yeah,
which,
yeah. You know, no MFers.
So he goes, hey, so I watched your little preview yesterday, and then I watched Chris on Top Chef. I mean, you know, on not Top Chef. I'm sorry, on your show,
the
whatever
Chopped.
your Food Network show. Yeah, Chopped. Sorry,
I cussed a lot in that.
I did on Food Network too. It's great. I learned that if you strung all these expletives together, they couldn't use it.
Yeah.
So like if you like said like I F and F, F, F and F and F and F, you F and F and F, they had to edit the whole piece out.
Yeah.
But if you only used it once, they could use it, and then you looked like the guy that didn't know how to use words other than F.
No,
like,
the first round,
like my wife.
Yeah, the first round they didn't show much of me. I was like, they're not showing much of me on the show, and I was F-bombing everything and mother effing this and got CS.
So by the way, everybody's now telling us that you were on Chopped. Like we couldn't remember that you were on Chopped, and everybody's like Chopped. So thanks. So you did Chopped.
I did Chopped.
I got to be honest, Chris. I didn't do enough research. I didn't watch last night, but Kyle did. Kyle,
thanks, Kyle. Tell him about it.
Yeah, pulled it up on YouTube. Well, you tell us about it. So, like, I mean, I don't. Spoiler alert. It went really well.
It went well. It's nothing I thought I'd ever do. I thought it'd be. My friends were like, "You should do Chopped. You should do Chopped, man." I was like, "Okay, cool, whatever." But it happened, and next thing you know, I'm flying to New York, and it was a bizarre experience. It was. Okay, let me remember my NDA for that. It was like that thick. It was all real. All that stuff was real. It's like there's no TV magic. The only TV magic was there wasn't much. It was like Ted Allen would redo his lines every once in a while. Okay, contestants, we're here. Okay, let me do that again. But everything else was like legit. We didn't know what was in those baskets. Had some tough competitors, and it was a full, good 12-hour day. We met at McDonald's at 6 in the morning in Harlem, I think we were. And where the studio was, and then we walked over there and take your phones and all that stuff, and it was pretty bizarre seeing Martha Stewart as a judge. She was a judge. I
did hear that. One of the people told me today, like Martha Stewart was a judge, so
yeah.
She was out of jail.
She was out of jail. She still had a hard look on her face, so I was like, "Who's over there?" You know, and she ate everything with chopsticks, which was like, My competitor next to me would always lean over to me when we're standing there, and she'd go, "Martha hates me." I was like, "I don't think she hates you, Robin."
Do you think Martha eats everything with chopsticks? Like every meal, she like do you think like she goes to Per Se and eats with chopsticks?
She probably has a stash. I don't know. Maybe she ate ice cream with chopsticks. That caught us off guard. Yeah.
Maybe it limits how much you can eat. Like maybe if like you can't quite eat as quickly. Like I could like shovel food in because I like at a fork and a spoon. Where if I were to switch to just chopsticks, everything would slow down. Like
slow down, pace the meal. No, but she was Martha. We weren't like, "Hey, can I do a selfie with you or fist bump?" It was like, "Stay the hell away from me. Stay over there." She had her own like handling crew, but it was a very well packed pantry, and you know, they used to make contestants sabotage each other back in the day and turn their ovens off and turn their saute off. That stuff's yeah, it was a really legitimate competition with the camera guys all over the place. There's like 3 or 4 cameras. No.
Like I turned my mic off at one point when I did challenge, right? And my producer walks up to me and goes, "Your mic's off." I'm like, "I know, I'm going to the bathroom." She goes, "Make sure you get it turned back on." I'm like, "Okay, like can I pee? Can I you know?"
We had to be escorted to the bathroom if we wanted to go there. Yes. Very, very private. Yeah. But it was I sweat the whole time. I was like, "That's for real." That stuff's surreal. Like, I'm sweating my bejesus out.
I assume you at least won the dessert round.
I made it to the dessert. Yes. Yeah.
Well, you won them all. You won all the rounds. So I mean, I'm going to go home tonight and watch it. Is it on Hulu? Can I like re-Hulu that one?
You can watch it. There's some links on the whatever it's called, the Food Network's Chopped series, Sweet and Salty. What was the name of it? Sweet and Salty Success is the name of the episode.
Got it. All right.
And yeah, man, it was got a check in the mail 2 months later. Like, woo! But it was
so what's funny was like my mailman. Like I've never talked to my mailman, right? And my mailman, like after my episode appeared, like walks up and goes, "I saw you on Food Network."
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. Like I'm a little weirded out now because like I've never like really met like, and I'm like, great. And he goes, "Do you think I'm going to get to deliver the check?" I'm like, probably. I mean, like,
so.
unless you're not working that day. Like, yeah, I'll let you know when it arrives. Like, here's the check from Scripps. It's here.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Thanks, man. And like he wandered off. I was like, cool. I guess that's really kind of weird, but whatever.
Well, that helped business out big time. I said we did really well January and February. They aired it. The original airing was something like January 7th, and a lot of people watch this show, and a lot of people like, I saw you on Chop. I saw you on Chop. I saw you. And our internet business went up, and people would come in. They were so excited, and it was it boosted sales. I gotta say it was a great little boost. The beginning of the year is not the best month for us. It's always like, oh, everyone just spent the money on the holidays. Here comes January,
right.
And then we ramp up going towards February and towards Valentine's, but it and then boom, lights out.
Right. It aired It aired in December, January this year.
January this year, the first week of January.
Yeah. So
yeah,
right,
we filmed it a year and a half ago. That was crazy. Yeah.
Don't tell anybody. Like I filmed 2 episodes of Challenge, right? Like within like 3 weeks of each other. And the second one they showed like 90 days later, and the other one they didn't show until Christmas. Like it was a year. Like, yeah, don't tell anybody. Don't do it. If you tell anybody, you're in violation of this contract.
Yeah.
Just
I thought they weren't going to air it. I was like, oh, they're not airing it. Why would they air it a year and a half, 2 years later? And then they said, oh, we're going to air it. I was like, sure you are. But they did. So.
All right. Fun. So a question I ask everybody.
Hey, Anna Paula.
You're biking home. It's late, and you swing into your Napa 7-Eleven, which is probably a really fancy 7-Eleven in Napa.
Oh, you get Chardonnay there.
Like Le 7-Eleven. Le Siete, whatever.
La Siente 7-Eleven.
Because you need a bottle of water, and you decide I'm getting a candy bar. I'm getting a 7-Eleven candy bar on the way home with my bottle of water. What is the 7-Eleven candy bar that you buy on the way home?
Wow, I would go straight for a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup.
There you go. Yeah, that's the answer. That's cool.
Yep. It's my favorite Halloween candy. Can't go wrong with a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. I'm not ashamed. I'll plow down 3 or 4 of those.
I don't think you should be. I'm a Kit Kat guy, so like I'm cool with that. Somebody last week, so I don't know if there's anything I'd get there. Come on,
come on.
Do you do a peanut butter piece?
Yeah, they sell like crazy. We have over the COVID time, I came out with the peanut butter and jelly pill, and so that little pill mold form you've seen before, I'm sure. We made a COVID. I thought I was working on the cure for COVID, but it was just a chocolate pill with peanut butter and jelly, and that came out. It's one of our best sellers right now. But we've always had a peanut butter or praline kind of thingy, which always sold well.
Cool.
Everyone loves
Hey, can I get your opinion on something?
I'll try. Yeah, sure.
All right. So, can you see that?
Yeah, that looks cool.
It's a brand new chocolate mold.
Oh, it's a bar? Is it a bar?
It's a bar. It's a tablet. It's about 80 grams. And like we're doing this line of bars, or this line of molds from like a Chef Series collection, right? And so I was invited to do one because I'm in charge of picking, right? So
sure.
But this is my first like custom like commercially available bar ever.
I think it's cool.
So, thanks, man.
I think it's cool. You guys do a bubble bar. It has all these little bubbles like it's coming out of the ocean or the water.
Yeah.
I love that thing.
Cool. Hey, let's have you design something. You want to design a praline or something?
I'd love to. Yeah.
All right. I'll get somebody to talk to you about that in the next couple of weeks. Is that cool? And then we'll send you some. But
Definitely.
we get to keep the stack of paperwork is not nearly as thick, right? But it's ours, not yours. We'll send you some for free, and you can use them all you want. But
we own it.
we own it. Yeah, that's like the whole gig. And like we're gonna ask that you like write a recipe for it, and we'll put it on our website.
Awesome.
So that people And Butterfly Chocolates is asking, is my mold available now? There's a couple here. There's like 5 here. They're on their way. They're on a boat sailing from Europe.
Did you say those are 80 grams?
They're about 80 grams, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just had this thing. Like, I wanted to see a cocoa pod that wasn't, like, just a cocoa pod. But anyway. All right.
No, you guys made a bunch of 3D cocoa pods for us last year. We're awesome. No, 2 years ago.
Yeah, so it's that little one, too. And that one, actually, I picked that cocoa pod on some like, somewhere.
We've used them a lot.
Thanks, man. So, this is where you get to plug whatever you want because we're wrapping up. So we plugged your website already. We plugged Instagram. We plugged your fancy chop show. What else you got to plug? Anything else?
What else?
You plugged the gelato guy down the street from you.
Yeah, Tony Fiorello. I plugged.
We talked a lot about that fancy guy across the street.
That TK. Who else we got going on? The V Market Center. Let's plug. That's where we're located. The V Marketplace. The estate in Yountville, our hotel next to us, Fortisono, one of our favorite clients across the street. Who do we got? Peter Michael Winery. Love Peter. Oh, let's plug our whiskey chocolates. My wife's always
that you should buy for Father's Day. That you should go on.
Yes, Father's Day. We're working with a vodka company who's making a whiskey right now in Sonoma County called Hanson. And good old Hanson.
I'm assuming this is your wife. Like, I'm watching you like she's like half a second ahead of you and you're like half a second behind. So like she's like chop,
Yeah. The
we got chocolate to sell.
What's that?
We got chocolate to sell. Figure it out there.
We got chocolate. Go to get our whiskey Father's Day chocolate, single malt, double barrel, made 10 miles from our shop. We love it. That's great. Our strawberry fizz is one of our favorite chocolates. Thanks, Sarah Case. Cool. It's strawberry with pop rocks, and it fizzes in your mouth. And Yountville, you got to come to Yountville. It is a lovely place. Lovely, lovely Yountville.
Cool. And keep using Selmy tempering equipment there at Kollar Chocolates. We appreciate it. And, I'm Brian. I think my Instagram's Brian Donaghy. And then Tom Ricks is probably Tom Ricks Systems. And then we're working on a new website, but we have a website and a lot of this stuff's available. That mold is not, somebody asked, that mold is not available on our website yet. It'll be up in the next couple of weeks, and once they come in stock fully.
Say hello to Sean for me.
I think the marketing guy just sent me a text like everybody's gone for the day. So like I'll see him on Monday.
See him
It's Friday in the summer, like Yeah. I mean they didn't have to. They all worked from home for 3 months, and now they're like back, and it's like I can leave on a Friday afternoon. Yeah. What the hell?
Get the same work done at home. Okay. Yeah. So I'll be back at work soon.
All right. Well, get well. Chris, is home because he had a little surgery that he gave the teaser yesterday afternoon. We won't go into it. But Chris, thanks you so much for spending an hour of your morning with us.
Absolutely. It's always good to see you. I need to catch you next time you're out here.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know when that's going to be.
Fancy food show next year, right? Maybe.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't think I'm going to Italy that week like I did this year.
Yeah, no.
Though I think California might have been more dangerous for me than Italy, but who knows?
We'll see.
Next week, just while you're here, we're talking to Jessica from Harlem Chocolate Factory. So
cool.
That's going to be kind of fun.
Awesome. I follow those guys.
Yeah, she's another big Selmy customer and a lot of fun. And I've got a phone call with her to make sure that she gets me a headshot, because you were all prepared. You've got a whole marketing team behind you. I'm assuming that's your wife who keeps.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, go get some rest and
all right.
Peace. I appreciate you spending time with us today, Eric. We'll talk.